Joining us now is Juniper Fleming, the director of Rebel Dogs Detroit Shelter, with us on the MegaCast. It is a no-kill rescue collective based in the heart of Detroit, Michigan. Juniper, thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So tell us a little bit about Rebel Dogs Detroit and why did you find this organization?
Okay, so we have been around for almost 4 years now. We started in 2018, and we started as a collective that became a nonprofit because we were Detroiters that saw that there was an epidemic of stray, neglected, and abandoned dogs in the city of Detroit, and there just wasn't an infrastructure of support governmentally or any kind of local efforts that were able to tackle the grandness and the vastness of this issue. So we got together in hopes to try to bite off a chunk of that and help create a support network to try to do what needed to be done for these dogs.
So what sets Rebel Dogs Detroit Shelter apart from other shelters or other rescues and the efforts that they're doing to either rescue animals or rehome animals such as dogs in the Detroit area and in the local area surrounding it?
Yeah, so when we started, we felt like one of the huge tenets that we wanted to create and work from was a pride of Detroit. We want Detroiters to be a part of the solution. We don't see Detroit as this huge sinking issue for animals. We actually see tons of community members who want change, who want the animals to have support and safety, but they don't know how to get it done. So Detroiters being a part of the solution for us is huge. And then additionally, we work from a place of understanding that dogs are animals, and a lot of these dogs that we're catching have lived as strays for long periods of time. So seeing our commitment to these dogs as more of a long-term one. We are a foster-based organization right now, and we have been for 4 years. Despite that, we've been able to save upwards of 1,500 dogs and adopt them out in those 4 years. But there's some dogs that are in our care that won't be leaving anytime soon, maybe ever. And that's part of our no-kill ethics, and that's part of the belief that we see these creatures as needing rehabilitation, re-socialization, but that their lives are still worthwhile. So those are kind of the frameworks that we think help us stand out and hopefully allow us to do the good work that needs to be done for these dogs.
We're joined by Juniper Fleming, the director of Rebel Dogs Detroit Shelter, joining us today on the MegaCast. And so, for a no-kill shelter like yours, different from other rescues or other shelters that maybe don't follow the no-kill format, what additional challenges does that bring to an organization like yours that's trying to not only protect these animals and rescue these animals, but also in many cases, as you said, rehome these animals also?
Mm-hmm. So us opening the shelter is going to enable us to work from a totally different format than we've been working. We currently have to figure out people's skill sets as fosters, and a lot of times that means that our core team are taking on the more difficult dogs, allowing us to work from a shelter format, which we'll be able to do hopefully by the end of this year, which is right around the corner, will enable us to bring dogs who need extensive training, extensive resocialization into a facility where they can have trainers come to them, have a routine schedule that we're able to build around their needs. So it will really take us to a different place than we've been before, which we're really excited about. We feel like we have the passion for it and we can do right by these dogs. So we're really looking forward to taking the mission that we've had for the past 4 years and bringing it to a place where we have a greater capacity for care than we have before.
So, as you mentioned, you're looking to build a shelter, a physical shelter on a former illegal dumping ground. How did you find that location, and why is that location an ideal spot for your shelter?
Absolutely. Good question. So, when we started the endeavor of attempting to open up a shelter in Detroit, we quickly figured out that we wanted to get this up and running as fast as possible. The need is immediate. There's dogs running astray in the streets of Detroit right now, and if we don't start saving them at rapid speed, they're going to freeze over the winter. They've already started, and so when we started trying to look at how can we get the shelter built as quickly as possible to address the needs of the city as quickly as possible, zoning was a big one. Industrially zoned land is what we need to build a shelter on without having to go through some kind of zoning exemption application, which could take years, especially during the pandemic situation. So zoning was one of the big things. Industrially zoned land is really hard to come by right now in Detroit. I believe that's partially due to the cannabis industry being such a big thing. So we finally were able to find industrially zoned land through the land bank, the Detroit Land Bank. And we worked with them over a series of, they didn't even have a price for the property. It wasn't something they were currently trying to sell, but we worked with them for a couple months and got them to come up with a figure that we could work with. And then we started the huge undertaking of clearing the property. It's about 1.5 acres of land, and it was just completely covered in dumped material from decades of dumping. And that was quite a big undertaking that we didn't even fully, I think both our contractors and us didn't fully understand what the undertaking was going to look like until we started. And that's part of why we're trying to fundraise right now. We're at the tail end. We've ordered prefabricated kennel buildings that are going to be delivered actually in a matter of a week. We're pouring foundation. We've cleared the land, which took tens and tens of thousands of dollars just to clear the land. Now we're pouring the foundations, and these prefabricated buildings are going to be delivered completely suited up for beginning to house dogs. And we need an operational budget. Unfortunately, our construction costs went over, and we've dug into our operational budget in order to finish this project. And that's what we're looking at now is trying to do some last minute fundraising so that we feel like we can comfortably and responsibly open our doors at the end of this year for dogs.
We're joined by Juniper Fleming, the director of Rebel Dogs Detroit Shelter, with us on the MegaCast. And so financially, what has it taken already, and what more is it going to take in order to complete this shelter in the best way possible so that Rebel Dogs Detroit is able to best serve the animals that it is rescuing?
Yeah. So with purchasing the land, clearing and preparing the land, and sorry, that's a dog.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. Stop. No.
Oh, no. Just joining in on the fun.
Sorry about that. All right. All right. So with all of that entailed with the property, the clearing, the prepping, and the building purchases themselves, we're looking at about $3,500 or $350,000, $350,000. And we comfortably need about 25,000 more to open our doors. So we've begun fundraising for that. Giving Tuesday is actually tomorrow. So we're excited to see how our fundraising efforts go, both on Facebook and on our website, rebeldogsdetroit.com. We have some special donors that will be matching donations. So hopefully we can get that operation budget put together.
We're joined by Juniper Fleming, the director of Rebel Dogs Detroit Shelter, joining us today on the MegaCast. How can those out in the community, in the Detroit area, outside the Detroit area, across the state of Michigan that may be tuning in, how can they best help the organization in these efforts?
Yeah, so if you're interested in donating to us opening this facility by the end of the year, what you can do is go to rebeldogsdetroit.com and click on the donate button on the top right-hand corner, or you can go to rebeldogsdetroit.com/donate. And there's a few different donation pathways listed there. Alternatively, you could go to our Facebook, Rebel Dogs Detroit, or our Instagram, Rebel Dogs Detroit. Facebook will be matching donations tomorrow for Giving Tuesday. It's an annual nonprofit giving day where they match donations. So that would be a great way to make your donation count double. But yeah, those are two different ways that people can donate.
So then, Juniper, just another 30 seconds with you before we'll say goodbye today. As people are going into the holidays and they're considering adopting a pet, adopting a dog this season, why should they adopt from a shelter as opposed to a pet shop or a pet breeder?
Absolutely. So there is a huge crisis of overpopulation of animals, and accidental and overbreeding is a very real issue. There's so many dogs that need loving and supportive homes, and opening your home and your heart to either a foster dog, which is a great way to help a dog without it being a long-term commitment, or adopting a dog. You're going to be potentially saving not just one life, but another life when you open up that spot for another dog to be saved off the street. So it really is the gift that keeps giving. And you'll very likely find that you're going to be having a dog that has such gratitude for finding a loving, safe home and environment. The best dogs are rescue dogs because they know what it's like to not feel safe. And when they find safety, they're so grateful.
Well, Juniper, we thank you very much for joining us and telling us more about your shelter.
Yeah, thank you so much.